So to me, I would franchise him, pick. I need to see it one more time.
I'd like to welcome Ran Carthon to the show at DLLS Cowboys. And Ran Carthon is an old friend of the family, old friend of
Absolutely.
the Cowboy family. His dad was the former running backs coach, former offensive coordinator, Mo Carthon, under Bill Parcells.
And I had a 2-week stint on the practice squad. See?
Oh, did you
Yeah,
say? Oh, I
man.
remember that. I
Oh,
do
man.
remember that.
Just
I
kick
said,
me out the
I
family. It's
said, you know
all
what? I
Mo.
said, that's nepotism. They just brought him here. You know, they just brought him here because that's the coach's son. Go let him come through. We're gonna give him a look. That's never, man. I've been following you since Florida, man. Stop it. Uh, Former GM of the Titans. Now you're in this radio, or not radio, but media
I do
business.
radio too.
Yeah, I know you do.
Do radio too. Do
Media,
it all.
media business. As a former GM, so you've been in front office for a long time, number of different teams. What's been your view, the league's view of the Cowboys and how they do business in free agency? Because they've been a good drafting team, but they don't really spend a lot of money in free agency.
Well, that was something that I brought up on our podcast with the first pick, myself and Ryan Wilson. We talked about we do a segment, and so go back and please check it out on how to fix every team.
Right.
And we talked about how to fix the Cowboys. The Cowboys' problem has never been drafting.
Right.
They probably draft as well as anybody, if you're being honest about it. But the problem has always been
Right.
the retention of those picks. Now, here's what I want to say: teams know more about these players than the outside world.
Right.
So typically there are things if they're not re-signing someone, and when I say they, I'm talking about all teams. It has something to do with the knowledge that you have on the inside, whether it's how they conduct their business, whether it's medical, whatever the case may be. The Cowboys, they run a legitimate business. And I'm not just saying this because I know this is a Cowboys format and you cover them and you one of the all-time greats. So let me give you your flowers on that. But Jerry Jones is partially responsible for the business of football,
Right.
right? And we are where we are as a league in this place, the amount of money it generates and the amount of revenue that the league gets as a whole, how we all feed our families on a consistent basis because of the business that he helped build.
Right.
So from that standpoint, I always look at it as if they don't re-sign a guy, I ask myself why.
Right.
Why aren't they re-signing the guy? And sometimes it's business.
Right.
Right. And we know these negotiations are hard. I've been in those rooms. You've been privy to some of the ins and outs of how these negotiations go. And sometimes you have to draw a hard line and say, here's my walkaway price.
Yeah, and I guess my question though, not just of their own guys, but they don't really go out and get outside guys. They basically put in free agents every year.
Yeah, and a lot of that too is because and again, I'm not a Cowboy sympathizer. I don't have a dog in that fight.
Right.
But what I understand about free agency sometimes is in taking on other guys, it doesn't help you from the compensatory standpoint,
Right.
right? Because if the Cowboys don't sign someone, then and if they don't sign someone and then one of their free agents gets signed, that puts them to the formula to get a compensatory pick. That's one part of it. But then the other part of it too is again they've drafted so well. If you're bringing in these guys, you're going to stunt the growth and development of the guys that you've already brought in, and so it's a two-way street. And sometimes it's typically when guys spend a lot of money in free agency, you also have to look on the other side and say that they typically don't have a lot of draft picks,
Right.
unless you're the Los Angeles Rams who just took the approach early on of f those picks.
Right.
But if you see now, their model has changed, right? Their model has changed. Now they pick guys, they draft guys because they've done a really good job in recent times of drafting.
Right. You know, for Cowboy fans, it's frustrating because it's been 30 years. 30 years since the last Super Bowl title. 30 years since the NFC Championship game. 30 years since they've won something. And I get the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Grandma always told me, you know, you can't serve two masters. You can't be about business and be about winning, okay? Or can you can't be focused on just, I mean, when are you gonna go all in? What's wrong with going all in and put all the chips
Listen,
in like
first of
around
all,
as a former? What's wrong with doing that?
when Grandma told you that, she was not talking about the Cowboys. She was not talking
Well,
about.
I
She
agree.
was talking about. She was not talking about the Cowboys. But here's the thing, and I understand the frustration of the Dallas Cowboys fan base. I think we all do.
Yeah.
It's one of the more prevalent fan bases in the world,
Mhm.
and I literally had this conversation with a good friend of mine, George Foster, about fan bases. Who has the bigger fan base? Is it the Pittsburgh Steelers or is it the Dallas Cowboys? And I was in some I was on vacation somewhere. I think I was in the Caribbean, and I'm looking at just people who don't even really have an interest in football,
Mhm.
and I saw Cowboy paraphernalia.
Mhm.
I saw Steeler paraphernalia. And so again, Master Tesfasian, one of our really good friends, he's a
Yeah.
family member of mine. He loves the Cowboys immensely, and he lives and dies on the
Right.
plane of the Dallas Cowboys. So I understand your frustration, but I also look at it too, and again, this is me being a GM sympathizer,
Right.
right? We take the field or we build these teams every year with the intention to win.
Right.
We're not going. Most teams aren't going out there to be,
Yeah, but
500 or just
are
above
you really
500.
trying to win when you don't even try to improve your team in free agency?
But
When you
that's
when
not
you
the
only
only.
shop at the dollar store in free agency?
But here's the thing,
Because I'm tired of you balancing it, but you make more money than any franchise in sports. I don't care that you're financially solvent when you're not winning.
here's what I say, because you said, listen, I'm a guy, and I consider myself, I call it cost effective,
Right.
right? It's how I carry myself. You're not gonna see me in designer, right? Don't look at this. This is not designer. I take pride in finding something good
Right.
at a lesser price and making it look good.
Okay.
Maybe that's Jerry's approach.
Okay.
Maybe he said you call it the dollar store.
Right.
You can go find if you're in a pinch and you need something, you go to the dollar store. You can typically find what you need, right?
Sometimes it's old. Sometimes you don't get the medicine at the
But
$5
see
store.
that
No, no.
there are certain things you don't shop for
That's
at the
exactly
at the
certain
dollar,
thing. You know,
but there are
like
certain
pass
bargains.
rushers you don't shop for at the dollar store.
Now,
Edge rush you don't shop at the dollar store. You don't get rid of Michael Parsons. As a former GM, do you get rid of Michael
no,
Parsons?
you figure it out. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think you figure it out. Now, I mean, again, and I follow all of the noise, so to speak. I see it, and I mean, if you're looking at it now, I don't know if anyone can say who won that trade or not right now, because you get these draft picks now. You have multiple picks in the first round, right? Which is something I don't think Dallas has had in a while. Let's see. You still got to hit on the picks,
It's a down draft,
and
and there
so
are no Michael Parsons in this draft.
I mean, it's only so many Michael Parsons walking the earth, right?
Exactly.
God only made so many
So
of
when
those,
you
which
got
I
him,
know is
when you got him, you keep him, don't
yeah, but you got to find a way to do it.
you? Right.
And it may be in a way that he may not have wanted to play on the franchise tag or whatever the case may be, but you try to figure out a way to get that guy and keep that guy on your football
They
team.
got 2 first-round picks, 12 and 20. Do they, none in the second and third round, partly because of the trades and acquiring George Pickens. Uh, can they fix this defense, which was one of the worst in league history, with 12 and 20?
I think they can. I think they're going to be solid, quality players there. You talk about what they need. I literally just left the set of doing a mock draft.
Mm.
Again with the first pick podcast, myself and Ryan Wilson. I'm doing my shameless plug
That's
here,
right. Do that.
but Ryan took Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles
Yes,
at 12, and
people would love to have
there
him.
were some people on the set that loved the pick. It was some people saying, well, they still have Overshown.
Right.
But here's the thing: if Overshown, who's going to be another year removed from the injury, we know is a dynamic player, but will they pay Overshown? And so now, if you're not going to pay Overshown, you have the same quality player that can line up and do everything that he does. And then I can't remember off the top of my head where we went with the second pick, but we made the argument of, is there a corner need? Was the corner need bigger than getting a linebacker, an off-ball linebacker at 12? A player that I think they could benefit from is particularly at the cornerback position, who I think is arguably the best. And I go back and forth based on who I watched last, but Jamar McCoy
Mm-hmm.
from Tennessee, a damn good player, probably has the best ball skills of all the corners in the draft. I know he's coming off of an ACL, but he tore it in January of 2025, so he's a full year removed. Did not play at all this season. But to me, that also shows that, like, now when he comes to the combine, and I haven't spoken to him, so I don't know what his choice is, but you have no reason not to work out at the
Right.
combine. You have no reason not to work out at your pro day and maybe even do a private workout for a team. But I think having a guy like that, particularly in that secondary, because we all saw that Giants game where they
Right.
gave up 450 yards passing. And I know a lot of that was down the middle of the field and some safety help. But do you go Mansour Delaney if he's available?
Right.
Do you go Sonny Styles? Do you go Jamar McCoy? What if Caleb Downs is there?
Right.
The safety. I know we've had this whole positional value conversation.
Right.
A guy like Caleb Downs, to me, defies the positional value
Right.
because I think he's so versatile. You can do a lot of things with him in your defense. But more importantly, he is a culture changer.
Right.
and a culture builder and the right type of guy that you can bring in that atmosphere. And I love the fact that he played in Matt Patricia's
Right.
multiplicity defense.
Right.
And I know you guys have now gotten a new defensive coordinator. And I believe if I read correctly, going to go back to the 3-4.
Right.
So again, a kid like that that's playing in it, there's going to be a ton of guys, a ton of good players that I think will be day one plug and play starters for them available at 12.
Okay, real quickly, a couple of people, free agency. What do you do with George Pickens? Here's a guy, all the stuff you heard, all the noise in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Come to Dallas, 92 catches, 1,400 yards, all pro. Does he cash in? Do you franchise him? Do you give him a multi-year deal? As a GM, what do you do with a guy like this?
Well, I first of all, and I remember when they traded for him, I made I made the comment to myself, and I actually wrote it in my notes that upon me trading for him, I'm telling him whatever you do this year is icing on the cake, but I need to see it one more, especially with all the stuff that we heard. Now, again, only Pittsburgh and Dallas really know what everything was with this young man, but I would want to see it one more year, and we would franchise him, which I believe they're going to do if they
That's
hadn't
the
done it
plan.
already. And that number I believe is 28 million.
Right.
So we know from the argument standpoint that 28 million is the floor.
Right.
And now the next argument is, do you pay him above CD?
Right.
And if you pay him above CD, then you know you're creating another conversation in another year with CD and his deal. So you're going to keep trying to reset that number. So to me, I would franchise him, pick. I need to see it one more time. I need to see, because anybody can behave and perform. I'm not say perform 1 year, but you can be on your best behavior for 1 year when you know everybody's watching.
Right.
Now, what's it going to be once you're settled in and you're comfortable? So we would continue to have the talks, and if we can get it at a number that I'm comfortable with, then yeah, let's knock it out. Let's get it done. But if we're so far apart, then hey, look, let's just cut off the ties in terms of that conversation. You go out, perform, and then we'll figure it out.
One thing that's been a point at the combine is the kicker, Brandon Aubrey. Cowboys have offered him $7 million, highest paid kicker in the league. He wants 10. You pay a kicker $10 million?
We've never seen it. And now he's a weapon.
Okay.
Right, he's a weapon, and you can't get around that. And I think, especially with the change in the K-ball,
Right.
we see these dudes, they attempted 60-yard field goals
There's a
like
lot
it
of
was
kickers.
nobody's business.
Right.
Because you remember that was a time in our league where 51 was like, do we want to attempt this?
Right.
He is a weapon. However, from that standpoint, and he's got to ask for 10.
Right.
Maybe his 10 pushes him to 8.
Right.
So he's got to ask for 10. You don't have to oblige.
Right. Right.
Like I'm sure my wife wants a new car.
Right.
I mean, she's gonna get it,
Right.
but if you don't ask, you won't know. And so, to answer your question, I don't think that is worth 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I love the fact that he's a weapon and he's automatic in certain areas, but 10 million is something we've never seen the kicker position
And
make.
if we give him 8, we give him as much as our running back. That tells you about how valuable he is. Even if your running back getting $8 million
Yeah.
a year. And is the kicker more valuable than a running back in today's game?
Well, it depends on who you talk to, because running back is one of the more devalued positions. I play running back, you know that.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it at all. However, it's a devalued position, and people feel like my man Pete Prisco, he's always say you could just reach and grab a running back off the shelf and just plug and play him.
Yeah.
Plug and play him. But you can't find kickers that make kicks in clutch moments.
Yeah. Since you brought up running back, and I'm still mad at the Cowboys because they should have signed Henry 2 years ago. Free agent, lives in Dallas in all season, wanted to call him the Cowboys. Jerry wouldn't call him. They didn't want to pay him $8 million. $8 million was too rich. Now you give Javonte Williams $8 million a year.
Well, here's the thing.
And you know Henry. I'm just saying.
No, absolutely.
Coming out of Tennessee and where he was at that point, obviously he's showing he still got it in Baltimore.
Here's what I tell you, and I truly believe this from the Derrick Henry front. Whether Cowboys wanted to pay him or not, whatever, that's none of my business. That's for you to discuss on DLLS.
Right.
But what I will say, I think Derrick Henry chose the absolute perfect spot for him.
Yeah.
I think he went to the place that allowed him to reemerge and become the player that other defenders fear,
Right.
and that people around the league don't want to see line up against him, and which allowed him to get another payday.
Right.
But I think that's all based off of him choosing the right place. I don't know that he would have the same production in Dallas offense that he does in Baltimore, just because the threat of Lamar Jackson. You're going to face those light boxes, 11 personnel, and now a linebacker has to dedicate himself to Lamar Jackson and one to Derrick Henry, and now you're running against a light box, right? And so I don't know that he has the same success anywhere, other than what he's had in Baltimore.
I mean, appreciate it, man. Thank you, Ran Carthon.
Yeah, I appreciate.
Who you with? Who you with again?
CBS Sports.
CBS Sports. Right.
Look, man, it's been a dream of mine to be on air with this dude, man. Like I follow all his work, and real talk, man. Like I really appreciate you for the work that you do, not only for the DFW area, but what you do for the culture as a whole. I love the way that you embrace, all the young, black talent in this league, and you've been a voice for everybody. You speak up for people when they don't have a voice for themselves. So I've always appreciated you for that and respect you for that. So, man, you're somebody I look up to in this media space and somebody I just look up to in life.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.